Hi, y'all. It's us from Never Cross a Witch Bitch. This is now our, what,
28.
28th
Yes, it
episode?
is.
Should be actually
28.
like 52, but no, it's almost a year.
People
We'll have to
keep
figure
going
out
on
when we stop.
holiday and doing stuff, and
Having a life.
Is that
We
a
don't
bit
get paid. We don't make any money from this, so it's
no.
totally volunteer. So we're not going to moan that we're not here every week now. But it will be, what is it? October will be a year?
Is
I think
it
I think it actually will be, yeah, I think. No, was it April?
really?
Oh, it did. I can't remember.
I thought it
I'm
was
still
October and November.
assuming.
I'll have to look. I'll have to look on Spotify or YouTube. But yeah, yeah. Mitch is back from his trip to Cornwall and
Yeah.
talking about his if you guys go on his page, you can see his hot tub pics, which are lush. That's
Oh,
all I'm gonna
bless
say.
Lucy's very. You're
Lush.
very excited about his nitpicks, aren't you?
Well, because he had
You are.
colored, he
Top
had
form,
lights
isn't
and
it?
he had lights. Oh, totally. I don't
He
watch
had
porn, so
flashing
that's as close as I'm
nipples.
going to get. Yeah, I do not watch porn anymore, and so I've been free from porn for a number of years. And yeah, it was nice seeing his nips, and I think it was like green and blue because the water changed colors, and he
Oh,
took
dear.
a photo for each watercolor change, which was even more special. And because I'm his friend, he sent them to
Oh,
me private. He sent me to them to me
Oh,
privately.
I see.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
there's
yeah.
an underlining thing
Oh,
going on.
100.
I see.
Yeah, yeah. I asked for
wasn't
the
it a bit
camera to go lower and lower, but he wouldn't.
No, he pays for. You have to pay him for that.
This time, well, you have to look him up on OnlyFans, he said.
oh, that's an idea, isn't it? I could put a killing in there.
You could make a killing. Psychic medium, naked pictures. See the
The
gifted,
naked
what he's
psychic.
see the gifted, yeah,
Oh,
what he's
I'm going
gifted
to write
with.
this down.
He's
Naked psychic. Could be
Naked
inspiring.
psychic. Uh,
Oh,
he
dear.
says he's a medium, but really he's a large.
exactly, exactly.
You can tell it's been away for a while, having a hot flusher
Oh,
now we talk.
dear. Oh, come on, guys.
Well,
Let's be sensible.
we're going to talk about, we don't know how to say the word. Maybon,
Mayboon. Mayboon.
Mayboon,
Mabon.
Mabon,
Yeah.
Mabon,
Autumn Equinox.
Autumn. There we go. She said it because I was going to spit all over the table saying it.
Oh, I
Autumn
should have left it.
Equinox.
Oh, there you go. See, you can say it without spitting over the microphone.
I'm such a bad witch. I had to ask what Maybon was this morning when they said they wanted to
Bad
talk
witch.
about it. I'm like, well, what is it? I said I don't know what it is. I thought we were talking about a singer that I knew. That's all. But anyway, yeah.
So here
Anyone
we
want to get
are.
started? Anyone want to get started? Plus, we had a big eclipse yesterday. Another one, the
Yeah.
second one of the month in Virgo. It didn't hit me as hard as actually it was actually before we go into Mabon, I really I really enjoyed this eclipse actually. I had some serious just very intimate moments with spirit just downloading because I was watching the lady the fairy. I like her. You've
The
been
Earth
putting it up in the
Earth Fairy.
yeah, I like her.
Yeah.
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 And I was watching her and she was saying for this, because I usually watch YouTube videos on like astrology and stuff. And she said for this one, just sit back and
Hmm.
relax and be
Hmm.
present. So we went to go pick up Minnie last night. That's why I didn't join in on your conversation. And Colin was driving home. So I was just sitting in the front seat and I just had some beautiful moments of spirit just downloading some stuff and doing some little bits of healing
Mm.
and I thought, wow, this is really cool. So it was a good one for me because the last one at the beginning of the month, holy crap, I was kicked around I
Mm.
was so fatigued and grumpy and didn't sleep
Mm.
well and yeah, yeah.
That's
So
quite interesting because there's a lot of people that really struggle with the full lunar eclipse. I ended up talking to somebody the other day, who was walking down the road, and they said they really, as you do, it's me,
well, I
isn't
could
it?
totally see you
Um,
doing that, Carly. So like,
yeah, just walking down the road. Oh, good morning, good morning. How are you? How was the full lunar eclipse for you? It was a bit like that, to be fair. Um, And they said they really struggled. And I said, actually, this one, I had the complete polar opposite on
Hmm.
this full moon lunar, because obviously it was on a full moon and thing. And it was a red moon as well. And I had the complete polar opposite. I've been really struggling the last sort of 6, 7 months with full moons. Feel like I'm trudging my feet like everyone else is, doing. And this one just completely upended itself. And I was like, yeah, come on then, let's have ya. And I was so, I was so motivated. I found it really empowering. I mean, my other half thinks I'm nuts anyway, but normally I have if it's full moon, I have the bedroom curtains open because I watch the moon travel as I lay in bed, which is really cool. And
I
I
thought
had
you were going to say you give your neighbors a full moon.
well, you know. I live in a bungalow, so hey ho. Um, but yeah, so I had the curtains open, and it was just like I really felt empowered by it this time. It was completely polar opposite for me. It was
That's
amazing.
awesome. Because I had
Yeah.
it where I felt kicked around, but a couple of days later, when the energies kind of, released,
Mm,
then I
mm,
had like downloads. I really got my shit in order. And Virgo is like the polar opposite of me. I'm Sagittarius with Gemini rising, with Scorpio moon, with no Earth in my chart. And Virgo is like Earth, Earth, Earth. And it's like, and but it really brought in, and like Virgo, super organized, perfectionist
mm,
kind of thing. And
mm,
I, without realizing it, I just got my shit in order. And I'm like, I've got to, do this and this and this. And it really felt like empowering when I
mm,
normally not like that. I'm very ADHD brain and kind of off with I can try to focus, but then I'm gone with the fairies.
mm,
But yeah, depending where your position is in your chart, even though we're Sagittarius, we can experience
mm,
it's actually your rising sign that's more
mm,
important than your sun sign. Because your
mm,
rising sign is kind of how it affects you here on this earthly plane of how you present yourself. And I bet you we did a chart, it'd be
mm,
amazing to see like how different it would have affected you than me, depending on
mm,
where we are in
mm.
our charts. But it kicked
It
my
made me
bum. It was
fucking
hard.
angry, I have to say.
Yeah,
I'm
same
Made
with
gonna
you
me.
angry?
It made me
Mm.
really angry, which is very rare. Normally they just make me tired, but this one I was raging. I was like
I remember you
smashing some
texting
plates.
me saying that you were
Yeah,
struggling. Yeah.
I was in quite a bad drop for a few days. I was drinking quite heavy. I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna have a drink. um, I'm okay now, but it just had to go through my system and up the other side, you know. But the new moon, like, yeah, I've been really a bit like what you were saying, Lucy. I've been chilled, I've been calm, it's all lovely. But that full one, oh, it really did sort of hit
Yeah.
the to me.
I heard from
Mm,
people that are not even spiritual saying,
Mm.
I've been really struggling with sleep and this and that and
mm,
feeling anxious. And I've brought up the fact of it being like a lunar eclipse full moon, and people do, it's coming, like people are realizing that, yeah, full moons have
It's
like, one of
effective,
them was
isn't
a
it?
nurse, and she said actually, um, in an old folks home, and she said
oh,
it,
it always happens. Yeah, it always goes mad on a
she
full
said
moon.
that, yeah, she goes,
They all
dementia
start
just goes,
howling.
yeah,
The men
yeah.
will
Mm,
start howling in there.
Yeah, so
they
and
do. They
I
play
saw it
up.
working in I saw it working in the homeless shelter and the mental health um when I was working volunteering in mental health. You saw it affect people, and they say in prisons it affects, so it affects us. Like those are just concentrated things where you can watch it affect people. Does that make
Mm,
sense? That's why I'm bringing them up, but like it affects people without them
even
realizing it.
realizing. Mm,
But when you
Because
know about it, power is not, or knowledge is power. So you can kind of give yourself some grace and
yeah,
not,
yeah.
I don't want to blame everything on the moon because we are responsible for our actions out in the world. Like I'm not going to be like, every time there's a full up there and ripping Mitch's clothes off. Why am I on a kick about your clothes?
I don't
And
know. And his nipples as well. What is going on
I'm
today?
feeling energetically raped over here. Like,
I am, Mitch. Oh, that's the last thing I'd want to do. I'd want it to be mutual.
She's molesting you then in that case.
And I know it's not mutual now. I'll stop. Because people will
no,
go on that they'll
I'm only
cancel
joking.
me. They'll
No,
cancel me.
you crack
He likes
on. Have a play of what you want. I don't mind. I'm very liberal these days.
it. But yeah, but it does affect people. Do you know what I'm saying? It really does affect people, and so it's good to know
It's
your
interesting
charts
you
and
said
when things are happening.
about the prison stuff because I yesterday I was in Martok doing a day of readings and I read for this lovely she was a lovely little sweet lady and she was a prison guard and she didn't look like her job title because she was small and like skinny and everything and she was lovely and she's like yeah I lock up all these people and we were having a proper old chat about it after I'd done her reading and she was saying that she sees that kind of change of dynamic a lot as well, which is
Mm,
Mm,
interesting. It's
mm,
interesting.
yeah,
mm.
So, Carly, as pagan mother, talk us about Maboon or Autumn
my
Equinox.
The
bone,
pagan,
my bone.
Mabon. Three versions of saying it. I love it. Um, well, it's just exactly what's happening, isn't it? So what is so we're second harvest, aren't we?
Second just now, yeah.
Yeah, second harvest. So you have a first harvest, which is Lamas, or Lunasar, as we were
Oh,
saying
that's
earlier on.
Mm,
fancy. Yeah.
yeah,
Lunasar.
that's quite sexy.
If you can't remember how to say Lunasar, because it's not spelt the way it said, just think of Madagascar.
Well, now she
Um,
said Lunasaur.
Madagascar,
Medical.
Luna Madagascar. I start to sound like Jethro, which is really bad. Anyway, um, so, um, so yeah, so then obviously the last harvest, which is Samhain, so everything is in, but obviously we know it as Halloween. Um, so it's really the thing is with Mabum is always on the autumn equinox, the autumn equinox.
See? It's hard to
Eh?
say.
Yeah, yeah. And that's without a drink. And that's obviously it's equal day and night, isn't it? So in the southern hemisphere, we've got the spring, so they're in the spring equinox, which will be where are we? Coming towards Ostaris, it'd be coming towards Easter on the other end of scale. Um, and it's you can see the hedgerows change. So if you're going on sort of seasons, which is what they did, and they didn't have a Gregorian calendar, which is what we're working to now, because obviously that's where you get your dates and your months from. Um, you would have had moon cycles, you would have had how the trees are changing, how the fruit is changing.
Hmm.
This year is a mast year, so it's something that they call an abundance year. So it normally happens sort of every 5 years, normally every 3 to 5 years you'll have a mast year. So if you're walking around the hedgerow, you'll notice that the hawthorn is huge, prolifically everywhere,
Very
slows.
interesting. You say that because in our village, like we have a plum tree out the back, right?
Mm,
And then there's loads of apple trees around, and other people have like damsons and plums. This year, everyone, like our plum tree, actually, a big, huge branch broke off because it was just so
laden. Mm,
laden with plums that people are saying it's like a harvest they've never, like, haven't seen for, and that's interesting you say in 5 years.
mm.
And
Mm.
that has to do with, because something this
It's just a
morning.
sort of, it could be a combination of everything because of the fact that obviously we've been very dry this year. So it could be reverting back to obviously good conditions. But you would
Yeah.
have thought having it so dry that not enough water
That
would
would have
actually
affected it,
cause
yeah.
lesser thing. But it seems to be like the oak trees run on a 5 year cycle. So they tend to have a fifth year. My oak tree, well, all my oak trees in my field are just vast with acorns at the minute. The conker trees, you can make, did you
Yeah,
know you can
conkers are
make,
big in my village. They're
yeah,
like that big. And I was like,
you can
I've
make
never.
shampoo, you can make soap, detergent, washing detergent and soap with conkers if you mash them up and drain them and add a little bit of boiling water. You can actually
Oh,
make a detergent that you can wash your clothes with, which is far
what's
more
that
economical.
bewitching scent you're wearing? I'm like, conkers.
Conquer.
Your hair smells lovely. It's conkers
Conkers.
by Lucy.
Yeah.
No,
And
by
obviously you
Mitch.
can take by Mitch, Eau de la Conquer. Oh, Eau de la Conquer by M. Garlington.
Yeah, exactly.
It's another strand to my bow, is it?
Never know, it could be. So
I use it to get rid
obviously,
of spiders.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
take them in the house, best thing to do is try and cut them as well, or crush them up
Okay.
and put them around because obviously just sitting around, it will deter them, but if you cut them, it makes it better because you're
Oh, okay. Because we're getting the spiders coming in, and we've had a couple of doozies, like real
oh
doozies.
Daphnes, big Daphnes.
Minnie
The
had
bigger.
one in her room, and Colin wasn't home, of course, right? I have a spider catcher, one of those like it's like
Yeah.
a gun, and it's a
Like a
humane
taser.
spider cat. Yeah, it goes like this. It kind of opens up, and then you like this. Okay, this like it was on Minnie's wall, and I like it was quite up high, and I was trying to get her. She's more brave than I am to put like a bottle of cream next to it because that's how big it was to take a picture, but she couldn't reach up there. This thing was massive. So when I caught it, it was still like hanging on the outside of
It
it
was
was massive.
too big for the flight for the
Yeah,
spider
yeah,
trap.
yeah. Yeah, it was absolutely it said I just got chills thinking about it. Like it probably was a I don't know, it was black and hairy and
Wasn't a
massive.
Black Widow, was it?
Well, they have
So,
those false widows here, don't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
did it have that big
Yeah.
fang on the front?
Yeah, because I got bit by you can see the pictures on my Facebook page, and it left a big hole. I got bit by a spider right there, and it left a huge hole. But it had two fangs at the beginning, and then it got like it turned nasty. But
Mm.
Oh,
I found it in my bed, and they said it was I had South African neighbors, and they said it was something that was from South Africa. So it must have like they'd gone on like gone home and come back. So it might have been in
you've got a
their
friend, potentially.
luggage. Yeah.
Stow away in the
I lived
luggage.
in an yeah, I lived in an apartment at the time, and it might have been in their luggage. Yeah, he
Ooh.
was a nasty. He was dead in my bed, so I must have crushed him, but he bit me something
So
nasty.
he got his comeuppance then.
Oh
I didn't
dear.
feel him bite. I didn't feel him bite. It was the next day. I was like, what is that? And it was really itchy. And then it just turned nasty within like 48 hours. Hospital
Ooh.
nasty. Yeah.
Ooh, nasty.
Hospital with about 3 months of care nasty. Yeah.
Ooh, proper nasty. Yeah, lucky enough we don't have big things like that here. Well, we have the false widows, don't we? But we don't, they can, but depending on people, that's how we react. It's like anything, somebody else can get bitten by a horsefly and be absolutely fine, and then somebody else gets bitten by a horsefly and that goes all nasty. But yeah, the thing is with false widows, they tend to, I know there've been an influx of them this year, but they do tend to live more outside and they live in like sheds and log piles. And
Yeah.
it's normally the females that are a bit narky,
Don't
but
they
it's
do those
because they've
kind of
got
like funnel
babies.
webs? Don't they do those kind of like funnily looking webs, or is that something
I don't
else?
know. I don't tend not to look very close if I'm in a log shed. I don't hang around.
Colin loves them. He doesn't like, but he takes sticks and like, and
And
they'll
does he?
fight you. Yeah, they will fight you. You have your little twig. I'm not a stick, but a twig, and he's like that. They will
He's
grab it
probably
and they
sat there
will. Yeah,
thinking, "Oh, it's food. Yum, yum, yum. That's a big
yeah.
fly."
No. I just normally try if I have one in the house, just get a cup, off you go, little bugger, back
Yeah.
outside.
Out you go. Out you go,
I like my
Daphne.
I like my spider catcher because it's a good arm's length away. So you're just like, there you go. It caught a lot of wasps because we had a wasp nest. Now we got rid of it. Like a guy came and got rid of it. But I had about 10 wasps in my bathroom, and that thing worked really well for catching. Once it got near a window, I could just and then get them outside. So it's not just a spot.
Oh,
It's worth the 7.99 that I paid for it. Yeah, that thing is.
what's that, Timu?
I think I got it off Amazon, but yeah, I'm sure you can get it off Temu. Yeah.
No, this Friday
I gave my
catcher.
father-in-law one for his birthday because he's desperately scared of spiders. The guy is, poor guy. And I gave him one. He said that was a lifesaver. Yeah. Yeah, because, his Colin's mom doesn't do spiders either, so he's the one that has to be like left to do them. So anyway,
Bless him.
please forgive me.
That's all right. Where were we? I don't know. We were
Move on.
talking about spiders. Oh yeah, Mabon,
Maybelline.
Mayboon, ultimate clocks. Second harvest. Yeah. So obviously we were talking about it being a mast year, which is the sloes and things are heavy and blackberries, but you would obviously all gather them in, but you can start to see the leaves change on the trees. So sycamore trees are really noticeable at the minute. So they tend to change from the outside in, and they'll have that lovely sort of autumny goldy colour. So basically, Mabon's really all about giving thanks, which is how we now have Harvest Festival. So, the C of E took it obviously this time of year, which was obviously already a pagan celebration of the second harvest, of gathering in things and giving thanks and being grateful for what you've got and then storing up ready for the winter.
Hmm.
Um, it's Harvest Festival in America, obviously, you have Harvest Festival and Thanksgiving. Or is it the other way around? Thanksgiving and then Harvest Festival, or Thanksgiving is
It depends where
Thanksgiving?
you are. Like Canada has a different Thanksgiving than America. So America's in
Okay.
November, Canada's in October.
Oh, okay. So
It's
so thanks.
about when the country was first founded.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Thanksgiving then would be like our Samhain, technically speaking. So they they have two, but technically speaking, it would be the end of the harvest. So the same thing, really. So that's really interesting. So obviously, all the way across the board, the Christian faith has changed it into, Thanksgiving, harvest, da da da, blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
like for instance, like right now, I have an Anglican church right next door to my house here, like, and it's a beautiful old church. It's absolutely gorgeous. And they were saying that this weekend, like coming up, they're doing a thanks so people bring in food for the food
Mm,
bank and stuff, and they're storing up for the food bank. So they're
mm,
does that make
mm,
Mm.
sense?
mm,
They're following the
mm.
Christianity follows a lot of it's pagan
Yeah,
at its
but I mean,
origin.
it's yeah. They did.
They
They
will
did that.
never
They
ever
did
say
that.
that, but
No, they won't.
uh,
No, they won't. And that was but that was done when you had the changeover. So when you had Christianity coming in and the Crusaders coming in saying you should follow this religion, and they walked into a country full of heathens and pagans as far as they could see. They took those celebrations so that the crossover was easier. So the whole thing about your sorry, Mitch.
They really had kind of like a blueprint already, didn't they? They just sort of
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They
like
had a
even a
blueprint
Christmas
ready.
tree, like Christmas tree is like
when you've got
something
a
about.
star
I want to
on the
look up
Christmas
because there's some.
tree.
Yeah, the star.
Ah, you actually
I know, and they go like I get not embarrassed. That's not the word. But I do get like worried about like what people would think because automatically they think satanic, and I'm like, well, if it was upside down, then yeah, that's a different. Does
which
that make
which
sense?
is which is a created that satanic the Satanism was a created religion, turning it round the other way.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite modern actually. It's quite a modern religion.
Oh,
Was it
Satanism
19
is not 60s,
19 yeah, 19
earlier
I was
than
going to say
that.
it started 1930s, I think,
Yeah,
1930s,
yeah,
and then
like
really took
Aleister
off in
Crowley, and then you had Anton LaVey who wrote in the 60s the
yeah,
Satanic Bible. Yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah. So it's yeah, but somebody's take it's quite interesting how somebody even modern 20th century has taken a symbol which is good, so the five-pointed star, and said, well, if that's good, we'll turn it upside down because then that's the darker side to it. So
Mm.
really, the next time anyone says about a pentagram, and you go, well, actually, it's a good sign. But like I always say, Da Vinci drew. Da Vinci drew a human being as a five-pointed star. We are
hmm.
five-pointed stars when we stand there. You
Oh,
know,
I love it. Oh, I love that. Sorry, Carly. That really hit home.
we did. Human beings are a five-pointed star.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think of your head as your spirit, and you've got your earth and your water and your fire and your air on your points, and you look at that drawing, and it is just a five-pointed star, and that's what you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And it always makes me, I mean, I haven't I've been really lucky all the way through, obviously being brought up pagan. Um, and then obviously coming into doing bardware and walking the bardware path. I think I've only ever had somebody once. Everyone else has been curious, but I've only ever had somebody once who walked past the store and went, "Oh no, no, evil! All that's a bad symbol." But once I said to her about the Da Vinci and how he drew us and the five-pointed star and what it really means, and it in a circle means, we go around and it's a circle of life, etc., and it's never ending and it's unity. And she was like, "Oh, I really like that." But it's ignorance, isn't it?
It's
Hmm.
always
So,
ignorance, isn't it?
Yeah, because
Wherever
I
it
had
is,
this.
there's a lack
I
of understanding magic. Go on, sorry.
no, Mitch, go.
No, that was it. That was all I was going to say.
Don't want to
Sorry,
be
that was
like
his
like,
bit.
or a
no,
bit.
I've got a bar
Yeah,
of
get
chocolate. I'm going to just start having it. You crack on.
um Oh, now I totally forgot. No, no, it's there.
Oh,
It's
and
there.
chocolate. She's
Uh,
Christian.
yeah, talking about people, like I just had it this week. So we have in our village, we have um a village Facebook page for the village
Oh,
hall, right? And I'm part of the committee on the village hall here. And someone, they're not part of the committee, but someone that's part of the Facebook page, that's in charge of the Facebook page, went searching for me
oh gosh.
and
Oh,
found
there
my ab
you had a stalker.
hmm
You had your
and
first
found my
stalker.
yep, and found my first stalker that's come out publicly, I guess. And found my advertisement that I put up for Mitch's Witches Fair, and
Oh.
then put it up on the village thing
I just
to
think
try
that's
And
to
very surprising.
uh,
to try
and
to try
how
to
many bookings? How many bookings have you had from that now?
well, it was personally because it's a very Christian village, and this
Right.
lady's a Christian. It was done maliciously.
That was like
Does
an
that
attack.
make
Well,
sense? An
that's a
attack,
them
yeah.
problem.
Yeah. So I immediately, when I saw it, it had only been up for 16 minutes, it said, or something on Facebook, and I contacted my friend in the village who knows what I am and totally accepts me and stuff. And she said I'm going to contact her, and then I found her number and I contacted her, and she was quite rude about it. But I was like, there's no reason for you to advertise or put that up because it has nothing to do with the village, has nothing to do with the village hall, has nothing to do with Wales. Um, so
Unless
what's
you
the
want to
point in
cross
that?
the border and come to my witch's market, we use this as a cheeky plug, don't we?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
do you know what I
100%.
would? Do you know
But it
what
was
I would have
malicious.
done?
It
I
was
would.
to it was because people don't
Yeah.
understand. And I run a guided meditation group, and that alone, I sent Mitch the video I sent to the village because I made a village because people are thinking that we're talking to demons. And it's guided meditation, which is like NHS. They recommend guided meditation. Like the guided meditation I write is like mental health guided meditation. Does that make sense about
Yeah.
like loving yourself, feeling better in yourself, positivity? It does nothing to do with, but they think I'm in the village hall,
Just
going,
summoning.
now,
Just got
yeah,
this really
exactly. Like, relax,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
close your eyes. Satan loves you. And just feel yourself grounded. Satan loves
Loves
you.
you.
Like, and I'm not, And the thing is I'm far from that. I'm probably more, I'm going to be really bold here. That lady, that earth fairy lady, she put up
Yeah.
something and I'm like, oh, there's a word to what I am. I know you don't like definitions, but it was like, oh, there's a word. And I was raised with duality, right? So there's me, and then there's spirit, there's God, and you have to like pray and beg and hope and stuff like that. But I've never, ever in my soul felt that way because my personal experiences, even when I was a Christian, were very much flow. Does that make sense? That I was a
Yeah.
part of it, but they would call that New Age, right? So they believe, but it's called monoism. So I believe that everything flows, that a tree and me have energy. Does that make sense? Of source
Yeah.
flowing through us. Me and spirit, this fleshly body might make me feel like I'm not part of spirit. Does that make sense? Because I'm human. But the reality is that my energy can flow with them and their energy can flow with me if I allow it. So, um, I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, that was one of the downloads I had over this autumn
Mm.
equinox.
Isn't it
But
funny how we're still having to deal with ignorance in this day and age? I find this really interesting, like when it comes up. It
Is
almost
it?
because I think, we are so comfortable in our acceptance of spirit and everything else. And then when you sort of mix with the muggle world, you just forget there's still such ignorance, isn't there?
yeah,
Mm. Mm. And
I
then you've
find
got
it
the yeah, it's
fascinating.
funny, isn't it? And then you've got the other end of the scale. I did a village fete again at the weekend on Saturday, blowing a hoolie and piddling down with rain, but we were there, um, as you do. Um, and we were,
like Mitch at his
um,
dog show.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
it was, it was a bit.
Like,
So
hold on tight. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know how your tarot cards stayed on the table. They were
they
like,
didn't. They were flying everywhere. I had
oh,
to like pick them individually. One lady's they were going whoosh right across the field.
oh.
I was trying to pull them down.
Didn't want that one then. That
These
one's
dogs.
gone.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
bit like that, to be fair. Anyway, so again, a very C of E village. The school is C of E. My kids went there. It's conveniently local. Um, and we're in the village fete, and three stalls down. There's I forgot what he's. He's not a priest. He's another, not a priest, not a preacher. What's the
minister?
other one? Bit like
Minister?
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have bumped
Vicar?
into him.
Vicar?
No, no, no.
Oh,
Pastor. That's the word.
pastor. That's more fun, like getting into the Baptist onward, kind of like Pentecostal.
Yes.
You call him pastor,
So,
yeah.
so, so there's a pastor of about three or four with a stall, and I have bumped into him and met him. Ironically, you're now going to laugh at this. You know, my lovely best bud Emma.
Hmm.
His son, the pastor's son, bought Emma's house.
Oh, really?
Oh,
And he was just like, I bumped into the dad, and he was like, "Oh, my son's moved into 64," and I just went, "Oh, no, nice to
you
meet
could
you."
have said his house.
Have the
When
demons come
inside,
forth.
yeah, when you're inside, just creasing yourself laughing, go, "There's a turnaround for the books." Anyway, so he was a couple of doors over that way, with all his banners and balloons, and follow God and all that, and all these balloons are going and banging every time because it was blowing a hoolie, and every time they popped, my dad was going, "Oh, there's another lost soul." I said, "That's all right, we'll pick him up." Don't panic, we'll pick him up. We've got him. Follow us, we're fine. We'll help you. So
Tell
we
him
had
there's a demon there with a pin just going like that.
So we had him there. He's a lovely guy. I've met him. He's very nice. Anyway, so we had them there, and then we had a chapel behind us. So we had a chapel gazebo behind us. So we're all promoting their church, their chapel,
You know
their
they're praying for you though. Do you know that, right? Like
they're
they're praying
praying for me.
hard. Yeah, they're praying hard. Hard.
Or to get rid of
Hard.
me.
No, no, to save you. You would be a great catch there in their eyes. They'd be
Find
like,
your
that's a story
soul.
to tell everyone. Yeah.
We've
Took a
caught the
pagan,
pagan
like,
mother.
yeah, exactly. Second generation, third generation pagan, and
Oh my God.
we changed her.
It's so funny. So you stood there, and me and Charlene are stood there on the stool, and we're just a bit like, only pagans in the village. Anyway, so we sat there, and then you start having these lovely conversations. So the lady came up. I just sent somebody a message about this. So a lady came up to the stall in her wiser years. I know you shouldn't pigeonhole people, but you know when you look at someone and you think, that is C of E
Mhm.
Sunday service lady.
Yeah.
Anyway, she came up and she said to me, "Oh, I hope you don't mind me asking," and asked about the crystals and the sprays. She said, "What are the sprays?" And I started talking, and she said, "Oh, that's really interesting." And then she asked about the crystals. "Well, what are all these then?" And I said, explained, they've been around longer than reflexology, but blah, 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 you do the talk and things. And she said, "Do you know what? I've been thinking about finding an alternative." She said, "I've always wondered about it and steered away, but I am now actually quite keen." And she ended up buying a spray and three crystals, and one of those was for her daughter because she's having trouble sleeping. And I just thought, I was just, when you have that moment and you go, "Oh, fabulous. Always here if you want to chat," and off she pootles. And you just
Yeah.
think, that is so cool. So you've got one end of the scale where everybody goes, and then you've got the other end of the scale where somebody is obviously just really curious and really interested in finding out. And yeah, I mean, I've only ever had one person go at it. But you see, I would have taken what that lady did on Facebook as a promotional thing and made a comment underneath going,
No
"If
doubt.
anyone wishes to book, thanks for the promotion. If anyone wishes to book, I'm available." Blah, 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 blah. Please do
I
get
would,
in touch if you fancy a chat. I would have used it as a promotion.
I
I
live
would,
in a community where it's softly, slowly. Does that make sense? Like just softly. There's a few people that know and they accept me and I could feel in my
I
nervous system.
understand that.
Does that make sense? But
Yeah, I
there's people
understand
here
that.
that I think they would really freak out, like bad
and also
Yeah.
and
like if there's a home
unwarranted
movement,
freaking out.
yeah, you want to just be able to relax. It's like when I lived in Martok, like it's really interesting how I do a lot of stuff in Martok now, which is accepted. But when I lived there, it wasn't. I had some real shit from people in the village there. And I was just being me, doing my thing, neighbors either side that were homophobic, one side completely against my witchcraft and spiritualism, the other. And it's just draining, isn't it? So I
Mm,
understand why you wouldn't want it because it,
mm,
it does make you feel like a prisoner in your own bloody house.
Yeah,
mm.
this village is 63 people,
Oh wow, it's quite
right? So
small.
Oh,
it's
it's
ditty.
yeah.
It's really ditty. Like I can walk the area within 30 seconds or about a minute, right? It's very ditty. So
And you have
and
to call
everyone
it a
knows.
village because it's a church. It's got a church. If
Yeah,
it didn't have a
yeah,
church, it'd be a hamlet. There you go.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And and most of the people are absolutely great, but there is a serious Christianity here in
Mm,
this village
mm,
amongst, and like one of the ladies that comes to my guided meditation is probably one of the most spiritual Christians I've ever, like really Christian, but she loves the guided meditation, loves it. And she's been advertising it for me, saying like they've got it wrong. These guys,
mm,
she says, I'm trying to change their minds that they got this wrong. Like it's not, you don't lead us astray. And that's what they think I'm going to do is like lead them
And that's nice that
astray.
she's done
Offer them
first-hand
a. Yeah,
experience,
I'd offer
isn't
them
it?
a free
Yeah.
session. I'd offer them a free taster session.
I wouldn't. No,
Yeah.
you were. Like,
But then I quite actually, looking at it from what Mitch is saying, no, you don't actually. I shouldn't have said that. You don't have to offer them a free taster session. That's up to them, isn't it? If that's what they
Well,
want to
I
believe, then that's fine. You've got nothing to prove. You've got nothing to
yeah,
worry
exactly.
about.
exactly. And I know what
Mm,
my belief system is,
hmm
and I know it's when way more loving than when I was a Christian. Does that make
mm,
sense? Yeah.
mm.
Way more
That's
loving.
really noticeable. Do you know what? That is really noticeable. And I think the further down the path people go, the more they realize that in that context, as in like a coven, but in a Christian side of things, so a churchy side of things, how bitchy it can be. I mean,
Mm.
Mm.
anything becomes bitchy
Mhm.
when you have a group of people shoved together. Work can become bitchy when you have a group of people shoved together. That's just a human, muggly, humany thing that humans tend to do. But sometimes you get people that sit there and sprout all the no and do the do and they're C of E and I love God and God loves me, but they will shit on the next person who gets in their way.
Yeah, and that goes against every principle in the Bible anyway, because he
Mm,
says, what you do to the least of these, you do unto me. And that's
mm,
monoism. That's monoism right there. Him saying that when you hurt someone, you're hurting all of us, right?
mm.
Because we're all connected, right? And it like he even
I
says,
thought you should
me
have
and
quoted
the
that
Father,
woman back. You should have quoted that to her and with the middle
yeah,
finger immediately.
yeah, and
We are all connected.
the Father and I are one, right? As you are one. Nothing can separate you from the love of God. Nothing. He uses the word nothing can separate you from the love of God. I and the Father are one, as you are one. That's monoism, that we're one with spirit, right?
Mm.
That we're one, that we're
Or,
part of
or
spirit.
we should be at one with ourselves, because if you look at it from my
Too.
dad point of view, he's a humanist pagan.
Yeah.
So or a pagan humanist, whichever way round he's feeling in the mood. He believes that God is within you. You are
Oh,
that energy
Yeah,
source.
that's a bit mad.
that's
Yeah,
part of the monoism. Monoism is that source is in me, as
is
in
in
source
you.
is you. Does that make
Mm.
sense? And it's if whether or not you recognize that.
It's just that an entity of what you aim your your thought pattern at. So
Yeah.
my dad believes that that energy source, wherever whatever you decide that to be, is within you, and
Hmm.
you you are in control of, well, not control, but that's your responsibility. Do you know? Do you know? Understand what I mean? That's
I
your
would agree
responsibility.
with that. I would agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So it's pretty much
Definitely.
very close in same thought process.
mm.
And yeah, so like, yeah, and like Jesus, I've brought this up in the podcast before. Jesus was a witch. Okay. If you want to talk about spells and all that kind of stuff, Jesus did spells. The blind man was sitting there. Okay. He spit into the dirt and made a paste with his saliva in the dirt, put it on the blind man's eyes, and he could see.
Mm.
Mm.
Now that's paganism right there. Because
Well,
like if I
herbalism of
did
some
that,
form, isn't it?
yeah, if I did that in front of the Christians at the local church, right? They would be going, "Oh my God." Basically, what Jesus encountered, he encountered the Pharisees, which were the religious people of the time. They hated him.
Well,
They
he was
said he was a
different.
heretic. He was a heretic.
It's just different
And
again,
he
isn't it?
and he was
It's just being
killed because
different
of that. Yeah, he was
because he was
killed
different.
because of that. Because he was different. So the things that did I would say I don't even know if I believe in Jesus as a historical figure. I don't know. I think too he's just a representation of who we all are.
And that's
Does that make
interesting.
Oh,
sense?
oh
That's how
yeah,
I look
that is
at.
quite interesting. You see, I think he existed. I think
I
he was
don't
a,
know. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm sitting on the fence of
I,
that one, and some people,
mm,
you know, I
I
believe
think
his
he
energy is
generally.
around, like the
Mm.
universal energy. I call it universal Christ or whatever. Sorry, Carly, but yeah,
I
interesting.
mean, I think he existed as a generally nice person in a village. So I think he was generally a nice person, and I think because humans love to exaggerate, and it's, Betty and Doris, we said about this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said about Betty and Doris down the post office. They stand in a line and go, "Ooh, that Jesus man, have you seen what he's done?" And before you know it, then people have then realised it's a good story. Bards have got hold of it. People, storytellers that move around from village to village and add their bit and add their bit and add
Then
their bit. And then
then
by
it
the time you
turned.
get to 1,000 years later, when they write the story,
Hmm.
you've got 1,000 years of people adding bits to a story.
But look at like you a
Then
read.
bring in politics.
I was going to say,
Okay.
look at when I do like a reading and how people exaggerate and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then friends are coming, they want the same experience that that friend has. Well, hang on, that was a different experience.
Mm,
I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but it's like
No,
this
you
the
are
crossover.
though. He's a representation of us. And he said you will do greater things than me. It says that in the
Mm,
Bible. You will do great and he
mm,
freaking stopped storms. Okay? Like he controlled weather. He made water into wine and made everyone at the wedding very happy. Okay? Like
next
he
time there's
wasn't
a
against
storm, I'm gonna
drinking.
go
He
outside.
wasn't against drinking or anything. He hung around with his best friends were prostitutes and tax collectors, which at that time they were the worst of society,
Yeah,
right? And he hung around them. He was friends with them. And so he's a neat figure to really think about. And I even though I grew up in such a staunch way of existing, I'm actually very thankful for the character that I'm able to look at of
mm,
him. And like he like you said, it got crazy. It gets crazy. He was the same. He
yeah,
started out very small, and then it got people heard from about him for miles around and came flocking. And
mm.
like he even said his energy was drained. He someone touched his very cloak and was healed. That's how much like power he had. But he could feel the energy going from him because he said, "Who touched my cloak?"
yeah.
That's, and he had hundreds of people around him. Like he took two fish and fed, I think it was 1,000 people or 2,000 people or 5,000. I forget what it is, but
So,
a number
so
of
Doris,
people
yeah.
with two fish. Yeah, two fish. So like, and he says we could do greater things than him. I don't think we even have like, I just think it's the whole,
You
like, I'm
see,
not saying I could
I
go and
think,
go two
yeah,
fish but I think it's
yeah,
like the belief of yourself. Does that make sense? Like your dad
that's a
says of
better
who
way of
you
putting
are.
it.
Yeah.
Believing in yourself. I mean, I think the fish feeding
Standing in
story,
your
I think it,
power. No,
yeah,
I don't
I
know if
think,
it's
no,
true.
I mean, I think that's
Ugh.
Betty and Doris down the post office. I honestly think the two fish
Walking on
probably fed
water was
about.
another one.
Well, I think they probably fed, he managed to feed 20 people with two fish, but old Betty, she gets a bit carried away. And then Doris perceives it in another dimension. And Doris then goes and tells, Elizabeth or, Marie. And Marie then goes, oh, did he? And before you know it, the whole world, oh my God, he's fed 5,000 people with two
But
fishes. I think, but it, like you say, I like the idea of somebody it
the
telling you to
man.
believe in yourself. I think that's the thing is believing in yourself because
But
I think
Christians wouldn't take it that way. They would
no, they
take it,
wouldn't.
you can only believe in Jesus Christ. You have no
No,
power until you have Jesus Christ in you. And I'm like, that's pretty power. I actually, now that I'm
Powerless, isn't
not following that, I
but
feel
that's
more
egotistical, isn't
powerful.
it?
Yeah, I feel more powerful now, believing that I'm at one with Source, God, and really, truly
Energy.
try energy, whatever you want to call it. And I don't believe it has a personality necessarily because it's a collective of all of us. Does that make sense? Of like all of our
Well, look,
energy.
look how everybody felt on edge when we went into COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody felt that the strange shift.
it?
Everybody felt that weirdness, that inhibition, that, where are we going? What's happening? That fear. Even people that were like, well, I don't believe in all of this, still felt off. Why did they feel off? Because collectively, the whole world was on edge.
Hmm.
And the whole world hasn't gone back the same since, has it really?
No, not really. No, well, I think people's attitudes and things have changed towards that, like people working from home. I think I think the majority of people have realized that actually there's more to life than work, eat, sleep, work, repeat. But I also think out of that, because there's always the other side of the flip side of the coin. So people realizing there's more than eat, sleep, work, repeat. There's also people on the other side, which we tend to find, I've noticed visiting the village, is those that just don't give a shit. And they feel the world owes them something, and they're
Hmm.
rude and they're abrupt. And I think that's wrong because that's very self-centered and you're not really thinking about the person that you're dealing with. I mean, I'm so pleased I don't work in the pub anymore because I'd get so fed up because,
Hmm.
it's all clicky fingers and I want you to serve me now and no thought pattern for your fellow human being. I mean, we're not here for very long. Just be nice to your fellow human being
Hmm.
as they are, and I think that's yeah, like you say, it has. I think it's brought a lot of things to light for a lot of people.
Oh, and I believe it brought like I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. I don't know about I don't sit around thinking if COVID's real or not, like some people do. But it did start to shift the world's thinking on how government runs. Does that make sense? And the control that government has and what they're willing to put people
I
through.
think a lot
And
of people opened their eyes. I think it made people
and
look out the box.
and if you've noticed since then, things have really changed with how people view government. Like
Mm.
even more. And but which is I think going to be in the long run a good thing. I think there's going to be rough years, don't get me wrong, but I think there's going to be a deconstruction of government and a
Yeah, we're
creation
seeing a collapse
of
at the
new.
moment, aren't
Yeah,
we?
and that's going to be awful. It's going to feel awful, and it's going to feel scary because there's nothing like that in our lifetime. But maybe not in our lifetime, but definitely in Minnie's lifetime, my daughter's lifetime, I see something being restructured that's going to be more loving, or compassionate, maybe the word is, or more like turning
Thoughtful.
towards
I
Yeah,
think people
looking
need to
towards
be a bit more thoughtful.
each other's fellow men. But
Mm.
right now
Look,
we're seeing the opposite where we're all against each other. And everyone's like, I'm
it's
Democrat, I'm
horrible.
Republic, I'm
Oh,
I'm
it's horrible.
conservative, I'm Nigel Farage, or whatever. And we're just like at this place where but it has to go there to the utmost to destruct, if that
Mm.
makes sense,
Have
because
to
it's not,
self-combust.
it has to self-combust, and we obviously signed up for that. And that's like,
yeah,
but,
interesting.
but
Faith in everyone. Oh, sorry, let's get
but
political.
the age of Aquarius
Don't
is
cover politics.
the age of
Don't do
Aquarius
politics.
has come in. And so that what we were in before. I forget what it was, the age of Pisces or something. But anyway, the age that we were in before was very authoritarian. Does that make sense? When we were in that for 2000 years, so Christ, like the beginning of Christ's time or whatever. And we were in that for 2000 years of this authoritarian downward, and Aquarius is not authoritarian downward. So the authoritarians are they feel the energy shifting, and they're now trying, like you got your oligarchs, your Trump, your Trump, your Storm, they're trying with all their might to hold on to what was old. Does that make sense?
Mm,
And it's the ego maniacs are, it's like on, like it's like a bright light is on them. And but the age of Aquarius is about that one being one. The universe is one. We are one. We are here to take care and help each other. And that's going to be for the next 2000 years. So that, of course, is going to try to hold on with all its might, the old, but it will shift.
mm.
It will shift. Yeah. It'll be good. And it might
Well,
not
let's
be
hope
what we
so.
think is good, but I think like right now we might be like, well, this is what I imagine good to be. But I don't think it's anything we can even imagine because you then got technology going along with it. That's going to be like, I think of my grandfather, born in 1917, and he saw the making of cars, planes, and he died in 1917, or he died in 2017, so he lived to be up. He was just 101 when he died. The He went through World War Two. He was born, I think, in World War One, but World War Two, he was an adult. And then he went through the 50s of the boom, financial, and then the
Mm,
60s, the hippie, 70s, and then he came into the 80s, which turned into the technology and money thing, and then 90s, and then he had a computer. He went to computer courses and learned about the internet and all that stuff, in his last when he was 85 years old, because he wanted to keep up with what was going on. But he talked about the changes of like growing up in a house that didn't have electricity to
Mm.
being able to see a
mm,
VCR, and then it turned into you could just watch Netflix
mm,
to like, so imagine what we're going to go through because it's changing even faster. Does that make sense? Even faster
mm.
than what my grandfather saw. He saw people go to the moon, like, yeah. So it's going to be,
Go go to the moon.
some people say, some
Ooh.
people love, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. But, what we think is good and what we want, I don't even think can be in our imagination because we don't know what technology is going to bring, but I think we need to hold on to that. There's going to be dark, like the autumn equinox. I'm going to round it up, dark and light. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? But you need the dark and light to balance each other. If you just had light, you wouldn't know. It would just be you take it for granted what good is, right?
exactly. You have to have both
Ugh.
energies, don't you?
Mm, mm. Yeah, you
You
do.
can't
You do.
appreciate the light unless you've been to the dark.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it
And if you had
in
all
theory,
dark, we'd just be like it would just be evil and us like all lost. Does that
yeah,
make
but
sense? With
as well, when you see like people like sort of like heal through their dark times and sort of really embrace the light, they're so much more grateful for living and they appreciate life so much more, don't they? And that's part of the
100%.
difference, you know?
Yeah. That's very wise. Yeah. Like I think of my anxiety. If I didn't have my anxiety, I don't think in my life I would know what peace was.
Yeah.
Right. So when I felt peace, like the first time I grounded and meditated and someone taught me how to do that, the tears that flowed down my face because my body had never, my mind at times had experienced relaxation, but my body hadn't. Does that make sense? I held that anxiety in the background all the time. And it was like, my body just tears just down my face because I'd never, and so now I'm like, I know what peace feels like because I've been in the utter shit of anxiety being so chronic that it's been very bad, to very,
Mm.
very bad,
Mm,
non-functioning at times,
mm,
so so now I've done shadow work. I've thanked my anxiety. I see her in a different light. But that took a lot of years.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
and the autumn equinox is a fantastic time to actually sit down and do that
Hmm.
grounding and stopping because obviously everything through summer has been quite frantic. And life is generally frantic anyway, but the energies and things through summer, it's very busy, busy. Nature is very busy, busy. Everything going around is very busy, busy. So autumn equinox and Mabon is a time really to sit and we were talking about the Earth Fairy. I shared up on the podcast page quite a bit on Facebook. And she's a lovely lady, all on, we're all on the same page, which I love. But sitting and taking time and just looking at the world around you and creating that grounding. And it's not necessarily going within yourself.
It's just the
Take
awareness of it,
just
isn't
the
it?
awareness, yeah. So don't go in yourself. Just be aware of the bits that you've healed. Just be aware of obviously being thankful for those bits, being thankful for being able to get up in the morning and put your own drawers on, you've got food in the cupboard, that type of thing. And be thankful and calm. Just meditate with being sitting and being calm with yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about what's going on around you. Just learn to take five and be calm with yourself.
What was
Because I
quite
think,
interesting for me when I was on in Cornwall, you're talking about this. I kind of was doing this when I was in Cornwall, really, because when I was in the hot tub, like there's a little hot tub plug, like,
careful.
but no, when I
He
was in the
brought it
hot
up,
tub,
I didn't.
there was a night when it was just me because Paul was wanting to stay in and watch football on the telly. So I was like, I'm just going to go in the hot tub, and it was lush because it was in the evening, all the little fairy lights were on and everything else, and I could see the bats flying over,
Hmm.
and I was just in that oneness with nature, with spirit. And I did do exactly as you've just said, Carly. I just gave thanks and I looked over my timeline of like what I've achieved this year, the highs, the lows, all the little bits and pieces. And I just thought to myself at the end, I'm doing fucking well, actually. And I think
Hmm.
Mm,
sometimes when you're in it every day, you don't appreciate just what is being created. Because, like Lucy was saying, we're so fast paced with the technology and everything
mm,
else. And it was quite nice because I don't, as a Capricorn, I don't stop and I don't chill and I don't rest. And it was quite nice to just actually see my lifetime or my work, or not just my work, but just my energy in a
everything,
slightly different way.
everything.
Yeah, because I
And
almost
it's
took myself out and was just viewing it. Go
mm,
on.
and that's a really good way of doing it because obviously our energy changes as well. And you saying that, Mitch, that's one thing that we forget to look at and appreciate how our energies change and how we react to people, how we react to situations, how we now deal, because dealing with shadow work doesn't stay the same. And again, don't shy away from it. Shadow work isn't that ooh, scary black magic.
No,
That's
I love
deal.
it. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's dealing with. I think the terminology needs to change on that. I think we need to change the terminology so that people don't shy away from it. It's
You know what, though? The
just
shadow work was actually created by Carl Jung, who's a psychologist. So it's not even anything.
yeah,
He
no,
was
it's
a bit of
not.
a
And I
spirit, a what do you call
yeah,
it? Transpersonal psychologist, which I'm like a transpersonal counselor, which I do believe in that we are connected to spirit.
mm,
Does that make sense?
Mm.
Or whatever you want to call it. Does that make sense? An energy
mm.
beyond us. And so he called it, but yeah, it was a
I think the
psychologist.
terminology, yeah, I think that has been taken and created into something else. I think
Dark,
what's
yeah.
happened, yeah, I think what's happened there is that has been taken and applied to something else and it hasn't been explained along the way. So quite rightly, Carl Jung's shadow work is the thing we need to concentrate on, not the other side of
Yeah.
things. Um, but it's like you say, Mitch, it's acknowledging how your energy now has changed and reacts differently, what you filled in the gaps in that hole in the wall of your energy, how you control your energy. It's the whole package, isn't it? And I think that being grateful for being aware of how far you've come, not just material things, not just achieved stuff, but how much wholer and well, we're never complete, are we? But how much more
You're a work in
comfortable.
progress. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, before like my holiday, I was getting to a stage, and I have talked to Lucy about it. I think I've said to you about it, Carly, before, where I was unsure if I wanted to continue being a
Yeah.
medium and doing stuff, you know. And there will be some people listening to this thinking, "Oh my God, don't stop," and all the rest of it. But I was getting to the stage where I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do this for another 15, 20 years. But just having that bit of sort of rest and recharge, why would I ever want to give up on this when you see the magic and you see what spirit
Mm,
allowed me to do and the clients to sort of have? But when sometimes when you've got access to it every day, sometimes it is just too much. And sometimes by having that
mm.
pause, it makes you more grateful for it almost.
Well, how
Mm.
I see it, Mitch, too, is that when you have access to it every day, like I'm not like you out in public, but I work behind the scenes doing tarot.
Yeah.
People take it for granted.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? They come in, and that's what the draining part is that that it's spirit. Does that make sense? You know
Yeah.
that you've opened yourself up, you've done the work, you've done your meditation beforehand, you go into each card reading totally open and listening to spirit, and they're like, well, how long is that going to be? When's my boyfriend going to come back? It's muggle stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It takes it drains because you get caught up. You're answering those muggle questions. And spirit's fine. I find that spirit's actually quite fine answering those questions. It's me that gets drained from it. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Where I'm just like,
Yeah.
do you not see the beautiful of this? Like the
You
enlightenment
want
that
to see the
you're
bigger picture
actually,
almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're actually hearing from spirit, and you've got someone that's loving you and in part of your life that wants to see the best for you, but they're stuck in when am I going to get that will money, or when that kind of thing. And it's like it gets a little bit, it does get
It's just a
totally
journey. Yeah.
draining. Yeah. And where I work, they're expecting it within seconds. You answer those questions, right?
Yeah.
Like that you have some sort of like and so you're pulling cards and it's yeah, it can I I love it, but then sometimes I'm like, I've got it. Like Colin's like, well, are you going to work tonight? And I'm like, I gotta take a break. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that it's
Yeah.
some people are very. You get the odd call where it's like really awesome time, but the other ones are they're not mean, but they're just like it's all about when is my boyfriend or this guy dumped me? Is he thinking about me? And then they go, what is he thinking about me? Like, really? And then you're like, okay, I've never even thought of like, and then it's like, when is he going to call me? And you're like, it
No,
gets,
see,
so
I
I
just
could, you
have
know what I'm saying?
to,
So like, it's a dry, like, so Mitch, I totally get you when it comes to the
yeah,
draining and I'm
definitely.
paying you now, and they're not seeing the beauty of spirit. Like when I first had my first tarot card reading, when she said to me, she laid down the cards and she said, "Oh, this was 9 years, not be 9 years ago. It was when I first, so February would be 9 years when I first had my tarot read. And the woman laid down the cards and she said, I see that you were very highly religious before this. And the tears rolled down my face because I saw that spirit saw me. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Like, I'm
Oh,
like, that woman had no clue. It had nothing to do with her. Yeah, amazing power. Does that make sense? Amazing to hear that. But I was like, because I was so dry at that time. Does that make sense? I'm like, spirit is real. And she was like, and then she told me like, oh, you've met a man and he's got red hair, and I see that this man is going to be your forever. And Colin had no interest in me at the time. I was very interested in him. So like, it was it was about spirit seeing me more than what the actual revelations. And that I was like, no, I gotta help other people feel this. And so started taking up the tarot because I was like,
Mm.
this is amazing that people can feel this enlightenment that spirit is watching them. And some people get that. You know what
mhm.
I'm saying? You have those moments, like you're saying, with people where they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You probably see it a lot with the mediumship side of it too. But then with the mediumship side, you get people that they want that. They want grandma and they
Yeah, they
want
want
to
that
know what, yeah,
person, and anybody else is not good enough, sort of thing.
yeah,
But when I was in
yeah.
the hot tub the other day, when I was in the hot tub the other day, Spirit was
Mhm.
saying they were really not like kind of. It wasn't so much about the clients. It was like, Mitch, look at what Spirit are allowing you to have as
Mm.
well as the clients. And I think that's what I forget quite a lot, you know?
Do you know
Oh,
what? Do you know what? As Lucy was talking, I had this don't forget to see yourself, see the beauty in yourself. And you've just said
yeah,
it.
Yeah, but for me
Well,
to
Can't
they're
you
like
just
healing
shut
you
up
as
honest,
now?
they're healing you with that
yeah,
without you
with
even
that,
knowing because it's just drawing you closer to spirit. When you get that, like people go, oh, it must be like, wow, Mitch, you can in your human self feel like, yeah, that was awesome. I really did well there. But I know inside of you, Mitch, too, it's even that like, I can trust you even more,
yeah.
spirit. I can trust you even more. You've got my back even more than I thought. And it's
And by
that,
having that kind of acknowledgement the other day, like, I've come back and I'm really enjoying the work that I've done so far, and I haven't felt drained. And people are saying, "Oh, you look so good from the holiday," and yeah, it probably was the holiday, but also it was the revelations that spirit were downloading for me whilst I was on holiday.
well, that's the thing
Mm.
is you needed the holiday for you to
All
stop
those
so
hours,
spirit
yeah,
could talk to you in that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
exactly, exactly.
I definitely think that's a reminder to all of us to remember to see the beauty that's within us,
Mm.
ourselves, not just looking at the beauty. See, Mabon and
Mabon.
whichever way we
Maboon.
pronounce it, Maboon, Mabon, don't take any offense, any French people that listen. Please, it wasn't meant any offense at all. But I think it's definitely around this time, especially in the equal balance of things and that time of calmness. Because I don't know whether or not everybody's noticed, but actually it's really lovely. Well, it is in the Shire at the minute. It's beautiful. The sun is shining, and I can
It's
see in
beautiful
Wales and
here. Yeah, it's
Dorset.
gorgeous. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
shining lovely. For those that haven't got smelly vision or just listening, you can see the sunlight streaming through everybody's windows. Isn't that nice? Um, and it's definitely a time to, I think, definitely a time to remind all of us to look at our inner beauty and not be ashamed of taking the credit for it.
Well, yeah. There's nothing wrong with being proud
Mm,
of yourself.
absolutely.
And that's taken a long, I'm still not there. Does that make sense? I'm still not there in a
Mm.
natural state of being proud of myself. I have to tell myself, oh, you can be proud of yourself here. But naturally being proud is just having confidence,
Mm.
and
Which when I
having
put my Monday
self-worth.
guidance reading, confidence is the card for this week, which is
It
really
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
yeah. And
And also
Spirit's been
confidence to
speaking a
plant
lot about
seeds as
that.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the lovely oak tree and things like that, another thing of autumn equinox is planting seeds ready to come up for the spring. So they're going to sit and hibernate over the winter. So you plant your seeds and you plant your acorns and you plant your conkers. Sweet chestnut trees are quite hard to grow, but that type of thing. Plant them all now. The same with yourself and your ideas. Plant them all now, hibernate them, and then get ready for in bulk when it comes around for your all to fruition. It's all about not putting things to bed, but it's all about nurturing, feeding it, wrapping it up warm in the earth, looking for it ready for when your spring comes back round again. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
all about feeding and looking after,
I have a
planting
Mm.
seed.
question.
Go
I have
on.
a question for you guys. Like, I think I was talking to Mitch. Every summer, for the last number of years have been awful for me. Unplanned, but something traumatic or horrible happens to me or Colin. It's been like that for about 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer now. But all my life, I've looked at September, and maybe it's because of starting school in September from a young age. New Year's means very little to me. January 1st. Like it's like okay, and for like I'll celebrate and clink New Year's, but the next day I just go on with life kind of thing.
Mm,
But September has always been like my New Year's.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
always been a play time where I come out of the something pretty bad and I'm like renewed. Does that make sense? And I come out stronger and yeah, I always am planning things, have ideas in September of what I want to do. And I know it's getting ready for winter because winter
mm,
I can do a lot more because you don't have a garden and you're not, does that make sense? And you're not like going to barbecues or this or that. And I find winter I end up doing a lot more for me, if that makes sense at all. But
mm,
yeah, like for
Yeah.
me, September, it's been awesome. Like even this one, I've come out of a really shitty summer and like Colin was like, you know, it's 6 weeks ago your dad passed away. And like I still, even yesterday, I had, tears come down. But what I went through with my family during that time too, I'm like, Colin, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back because that was awful what we endured with my family. And we've come through pretty, like I was
Mm.
broken, and I'm thinking 6 weeks ago, it feels like a year ago. Does that make sense? Like, especially when you're going through healing from something quite traumatic, because it's like very like intricate. And I feel like it's a year ago, and I'm like 6 weeks ago. Wow, Call, we've come a long way from that to now we're laughing and painting the house and like it's
Just
not that,
living together, aren't you, sort of
yeah,
thing.
Mm.
second to second thought of trying to put together why did this happen? Why did this happen? And that's what was going on we were ruminating, both of us, for
Yeah.
quite some time. And I'm like, but September always is, yeah, the new year. So I'm like planning
It's
things
quite
like to get more in shape. Then in January, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go and get in shape. It's September. I'm like, oh, you know what? I
mm.
think I'm going to like start walking, which I have done. And, it's like my New Year's. It's weird.
It's quite interesting. So I obviously before we came on, I picked out my little books. I got yeah, let's do books rather than Google reference. So wonderful little book that I picked up from the hen shop. It's called The Earth Cycles of Celebration, and it's written by a lovely person called Glennie Kindred. And actually, I've opened it up on the Autumn Equinox page, so it's got all about the Sabbats in there. And the last paragraph on the page 35 says, clear out your living space, give away what no longer is relevant, wash and cleanse everything so that you begin the new phase with clarity.
Wow.
There you go.
And that's what we did this weekend without even thinking about it. We deep cleaned the house.
Ah,
So
And
if
we
you
were in
think
the mood
about
for
it,
it, which is weird because we're usually
yeah,
not in the
so
mood
it's
for it.
each end of the year. So if you think about it, the autumn equinox is a deep clean. And then when you come out the other side, what does everybody do in the spring?
I always do a spring clean too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it makes sense to do it each end of the scale, to be fair. So no,
Yeah,
love
because I
love that.
heard I heard we cleaned the house like thoroughly and just like really got in the nooks and crannies and we're really well, Colin pulled his back on Saturday. I felt so bad for him, but he's a Capricorn. He wouldn't freaking stop. He was in agony and he mowed the
I
lawn.
know another one of those.
I was just like, what are you doing? Like, he's
I
like,
know
if I
there's
keep
somebody else that
moving,
does that.
if I keep moving, it doesn't hurt, he says. So like if he sat, you could see him. He was in pain if he sat, but if he was walking, it was obviously a pinched nerve. He said he feels quite a bit better today, but not great, not perfect. But anyway, yeah, and we were in the mood to do all this. And then that fairy lady came on, and I was listening, and she said that this weekend, this 21st, is about clearing. So it could be emotional clearing, it could
hmm
be physical clearing, like diet clearing, or clearing your space. And I naturally went into clearing my space. And it was probably because of the stagnant energy that my family had left here. Does that make
Yeah.
sense when they pulled their crap when they were
What
here?
makes me smile with you, Lucy, is like you say that you don't always sometimes you're still finding your feet with your witchcraft, but you're doing so much of it naturally without even realizing.
I
And it just
love
makes
it because yeah, thank
it
you.
makes me smile because I just think she bloody is doing it and it's not needing to have because I think sometimes the title of witch is quite scary for people, isn't it? But actually when you go into the deep
We do it
energies
most of the time.
exactly, exactly.
Well,
Everybody has got a hint of it most of the time.
you know what? I've discovered and I'm discovering and that thank you for saying that, Mitch, because in the last couple of weeks I've really discovered that even just doing things naturally and then I watch like YouTube videos on astrology and like my witchiness has to do with all that too.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I did that, or that's how I feel right now. And I've never felt so in tune. And
Mm.
that's what being a witch is to me,
Yes,
is the
yeah, yeah.
natural ease and flow and being in tune. For me, that's I've been doing rituals, which some people would go, oh, but these rituals are coming very naturally to me. They're not even things that I'm necessarily looking up. I just feel the calling to do it. And I actually do it more for psychological reasons than I do. the magic happens,
Yeah.
but it also helps clear my energy of getting stuff that's stuck in me and going, what do I do with this? And feeling like it gives it a purpose and outlet. And so the rituals give things an outlet for me. So releasing people, cord cutting, candle burning, all that kind of
Mm.
stuff, carving candles and then burning them is like a
Sacrificing little Jimmy down the road.
another one. Can I tell you? Maybe oh, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it because I think accepting your dark and your light. Do you know what I'm saying? I would never, I don't want to physically act out on people. Like that's not my thing, but I've been more in tune with my anger a lot, and that's actually rheumatoid arthritis. A lot of it is they're realizing is caused from anger that you've not gotten out of your body. And breast cancer is another one, like usually from trauma and then the anger, and then you don't have that healthy expression to be able to be angry. Because angry in my house, which I would get rages of anger because it had to come out somehow, but angry growing up was totally unacceptable. Like that was like, you
Oh,
do
really?
not, yeah, you do not be angry. My parents were allowed to be angry. My grandparents were allowed to be angry, but us kids could never. It was totally unacceptable to be angry about something.
That's
And so I've had a
interesting.
lot of trauma.
Suppress. Carry on.
Mm.
Yeah, so I had a lot of trauma growing up and into my adult years where I was fucking angry. Do you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't express it. And Spirit showed me, and it's worked for me really well, is I go into a meditation and I beat the shit out of that person that I like actually in my imagination, and I let
Oh,
it
you can
flow.
share this with me,
You know,
this one. There's a
sorry,
few people I need to like use as a punch bag.
but it releases it because I don't want to do it in the physical. I don't want to see them harmed. Does that make sense? I really don't. But I have to let it go somehow. Does that make sense? And feel it in my body to release it. And that's
Yeah.
been what spirit, and I actually don't feel guilty for that.
So,
And
question
it's been
for a
so
friend.
awesome. Yeah.
So,
I,
question for a friend. Okay, are you allowed to like stab people in this meditation? Like, can you do things like that?
No, do you know what? It's me physically punching, like actually losing the plot on them. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So I'm swearing, I'm hitting, I'm punching, but there's no gun, there's no death involved. Does that make
Oh,
sense? Nothing like that, no stabbing,
so,
because but that's not in me. Maybe other people would have death, and I would think
that would be amazing.
I'd actually be like that could be acceptable because you're not doing does that you're not wishing it on the person. It's
Mm.
just how you get in touch with your anger to let it out of your body.
do you know
Oh,
what? I wondered why my ribs felt like they were bruised.
Never have done it on you, Carl. I really have to be really fucking pissed at this person. Does that make sense to go to that level?
I
yeah.
woke
And it's
up the other
happened only
day
with a
thinking,
few.
"Cool, I've been 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. It's bloody Lucy. I
I'm
hope
really good. I'm really good
you."
at punching. Like I did my ex-husband, and actually a lot
I
of
did my
that.
ex-husband. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I did that a few months ago. I didn't realize how much anger I was still holding in my body, even though my brain was like, you know what, everything's fine. I'm quite healed. My body was like, no, you're not. Does that make sense? And you're allowed to do this, and I did it. And I was just like, it, like
That's
actually
quite
feel it.
interesting you saying about the healing for the body as opposed to the mental mind, though, and them being different
You need to do
components.
both. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I look at it different
I
components. You can heal in the mind and so like for instance it doesn't trigger you to be but your body holds on to and so that could be tension, stomach aches, back aches and I used to not believe in any of this stuff. I used to think, "Oh, that's a bunch of hokey balokey," and I used to feel really guilty because I suffered with all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, is it my fault that I feel sick? And it's not really. It's just it's the energy, and it's so you know, it's
mm,
letting that energy go. And when you're raised in certain ways, you're not taught to let that energy go.
mm.
You're
And
not
it
taught that
causes
it's all
causes
right.
ch- yeah, it causes chemical imbalances in your body. So your brain obviously controls everything. And then when you get
Yeah,
chemical imbalances in your body, that then affects your muscles, your digestive system. And even though you might mentally heal, chemical imbalances don't change overnight.
yeah,
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. Just to say, guys, we're like a bit over the witching hour. Sorry.
That was a great
Oh,
talk.
cool, cool, blimey! We got to get a wiggle on.
That
I
was
just
awesome
think
today, you
Carly's
guys.
got work like later on, which you probably might have.
Yeah, I got to go and do Muggle stuff. Very boring.
Uh, what would be your last pieces of advice for the autumn equinox? Mine would be to sign up for our retreat.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh
Everything
yeah,
we've,
you've had a clear out. I agree with that. Go on, Mitch.
yeah, everything we've talked about is we are covering bits and pieces of that actually in our retreat, aren't we? Really? So
Yeah, yeah. I'm really excited for our retreat.
I think
Really
it's going to be. I
excited.
think it's going to be really special, actually.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
But
We're on limited time though now, aren't we? Is that what you were going to say, Mitch?
yeah, I was going to say like bookings. If you're still thinking of coming along, we need to get those in by. Are we saying by Friday?
Yeah, we might extend it a couple of days if people need it for a couple of days, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you're thinking about it, if you're umming and ahhing, contact Lucy at Bringer of Light Tarot and get your spaces booked. Are we
Yeah, because we've got a
confirming what?
bunch of sorry, go for it, Mitch.
I was going to say, are we allowed to say what the food is and stuff for it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Go on,
Yeah,
go
we've got
on.
it planned.
We
So
got.
I'm Colin, my partner, is making a Fijian curry, which is a
I'm very
beautiful
excited.
curry.
Yeah,
Very.
excited.
And then for any vegetarians and stuff, we've got some quiches and some different bits like that. And I think we're gonna have some rice with the curry and yeah, and maybe I'm not sure if we've thought about buying some naans or something like that, but possibly some naans or
We might
stuff like
chuck
that.
some
It'd be a,
in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then just the day is like each one of us doing our thing. That is
And that's
quite
lovely because
cool.
it's exploring different pieces of witchcraft in different styles, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of things that people haven't experienced,
Exactly.
which which I think is pretty darn cool because you don't see many witch retreats. You see a lot of health retreats and spiritual health and you know
A lot of
stuff like
Hamama retreats.
yeah, 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 and shadow working retreats and all that kind of stuff, but you don't see it where it's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna do a little seance or like and do
Yeah,
some
seance,
yeah,
mirror screening, trance
trance
demonstration,
work. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
pendulum sort of like
Scrying,
hexagon work.
pendulums.
Lots
Yeah.
of stuff with a cheeky curry thrown in. God, what more could you want?
Yeah. Exactly. 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 It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a really good time. I'm
It
really
is.
excited. Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be lush. Oh,
Absolutely.
well, I think that is our episode wrapped up, guys.
My chicken curry has actually turned vegetarians, non-vegetarian just for that one meal.
Oh, really?
I've had loads of people go, "Oh my God, I'm vegetarian, but this is good." Yeah, there's potato. It's proper stew, like it's good. It is good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
excited and I have it all the time. So
oh. Yeah, this is going to be fun. It's going to be good.
yeah,
It's going to be good.
It's going to be
Right,
a
guys.
learning curve when every day's a school day, so we'll probably all learn something. Definitely.
yeah.
We will, definitely.
And you
Yeah.
get to meet my mother-in-law.
That
And my
Oh,
was a witchy
mother-in-law.
that was
that
a
was
cackle, wasn't it?
I, I do love them.
That
I
was a
do love
proper
them.
cackle. That was like cackle with force, that was.
that was like Wizard of Oz cackle, wasn't it?
It was. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too.
So I just like, yeah. I don't know how she's gonna do doing witchy stuff, but that'll be all right. I don't think she's gonna do any of it. But she said she'd come and make some food, so I'm
Well,
very happy.
Oh,
Here's
that's
some.
good.
might open her eyes. She might realise there's a door open that she never knew was there.
She'll be outside.
That's her
Was
own
it?
little bit,
Was it?
her own little way of meditating. It's fine.
Yes,
It's all
it
good.
is. It is.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, well, shall we say goodbye?
I think we
Let's say
should.
goodbye.
By
Thanks for
accident,
having us
last time
on.
I hung up on you guys. I didn't hit
You
Oh,
stop
yeah.
did.
before and I
Rude.
just hit end.
Yeah,
Rude.
Well,
very rude.
lots of love and light from me, Lucy. That sounded like I was taking a poo, but that's all right.
Should
See you
go.
next time, guys.
Ta-da, everybody. See you soon.
Bye
Bye
for
for
now.
now. All right, where are you?